Gonna happen in time. I feel like it's gonna happen in time. I really do. I don't want to push anything too much, but I also kind of want to figure something out so that way I can, like, I don't know, put it on like Spotify and Apple outside of the Hit Chat Chit Chat name. But everybody, hello, welcome. I guess we'll call this Hit Chat Chit Chat group talks for right now until we can kind of nail something a little bit down better. Thank you guys for tuning in and joining today. As you guys can see, last week we did a group session with no group. This week we got a group, so we're actually able to play with it, baby. I'm excited. We got two new guys that you guys did not see last week. JP and I kind of anchored it down, and this week we're kind of let the new guys walk in, kind of let you guys know who they are, why you guys should listen to them, and stuff like that. So, Stevie, if you don't mind, brother, if you want to give a little intro, a little rundown, who you are and stuff like that, that'd be awesome, man.
Man, I'm Steven Pagendorn. I was a right-handed pitcher at Garden City Community College for 2 years, and then I transferred to Southwestern Oklahoma State University for 1 year, left and finished my college career at Southwestern Christian University in Oklahoma City. Now I coach for a place called PTG in Lubbock, but as of recently, I've gotten a job offer to move to Denver to coach for game day and be around my friends, man, Connor and all those dudes, and I'm excited for it. Really excited.
Soundboard coming soon. Just imagine the little. Greg, you're gonna have to help me out with that shit.
I got you on. We got like one of those my keyboards, It'll push a button, we'll sample it, and it'll just be you'll have like 12 of them. Yeah, you'll be good.
Oh, let's go, baby. And Greg, how you doing, brother? If you wouldn't mind giving a little intro on yourself.
Man, I'm doing good. I'm doing great actually. So I'm from Houston, Texas, and I just moved up here to Denver, Colorado 2 months ago to be the head of hitting and help with the player development overall and the recruiting. So in Texas, we have tons of colleges out here. These opportunities are a lot more scarce, but we do have athletes out here, right? And three-sport athletes because of the winter or other athletes that we don't have in the South. So I'm doing great. I'm intrigued, and I'm enjoying the athletes that I've had so far. And it's different. It is different. It's been an adjustment, but basically about myself is I played junior college baseball at Alvin Community College. I was a D1 verbal commit that tore my shoulder. I was a pitcher, two-way guy, but I could really hit. I wanted to hit in college, so ultimately the move was to go junior college, stay draft eligible. I passed with a guy named Rudy Terrasis with the Rangers. My senior year was a late round, no money. It was just a courtesy pick. So I decided to go to college and battled a couple injuries. Had a blood clot, and kind of knocked me out of my game. But my college coach offered me a job and said, whenever you get your degree, let me know. I would love to hire you. Blah blah blah. Went home, kind of did my own thing. Went back to school for engineering, audio engineering, like I was telling you. Had kids. And my buddy got me back on the baseball field, and I never left the game after about a year, and after I recovered from the blood clot. So no, I'm just my cousin played in the bigs. There's just been I've been around the game, so there's been a lot of blessings in my life about me getting to learn the highest level, and then also being from a city where we feel it's like the Mecca. There's so many baseball players and so many different levels of baseball players coming out of Houston, Texas, and the surrounding areas, and how far people will drive to go to Houston it is a change. But I think Denver is going to be a great opportunity for me as far as moving forward with my pro guys, and then helping all of these middle school to high school guys understand what really being recruited is, and battling with their high school coaches on theories whenever they get advanced training, things like that. So. Really, my background as a player is light. I think I played a little indie ball. You could reference me, and I think I, played at the NBC World Series and things like that. But no, yeah. Basically, man, I'm just a neuro biomechanist, biomechanist, however you want to word it. Whatever you. I like the body and time and space. So our sport is very relative to that. So we try to train that, and the guys at Driveline. Like Jay right here, like he's getting a big taste of that, and how we develop athletes, and so that's what I'm into, and that's kind of my background. And I'm a father. I have 3 kids, and so yeah, I'm a father. I got 8-year-old boy, 6-year-old, or I'm sorry, 8-year-old girl, 6-year-old boy, 4-year-old girl, and yeah, man, just providing for my family through baseball has been a grind. You know, I'm 32, and we're just getting started. Had my first pro hitter at 28, 29, and my first big leaguer. And we've had about 4 or 5 kids drafted in the last 4 or 5 years, counting the COVID. And it's getting tough with the 20 rounds, but we're not stopping here, man. We're just getting going.
Hell yeah, dude. I fucking love
Well,
it,
he's
baby.
a badass.
What was that?
So, well, you're a badass.
Oh, fuck.
Fucking love it, dog.
Yeah, that was awesome.
This past week,
That flowed well. That really flowed well, right?
This past week, man, me and JP kind of talked not too much on some focuses, and with that, I would want to kind of fill this space with just some things that we noticed. And then moving forward, I would like, you know, if we are able to kind of put a focus, or it doesn't even have to be just with, you know, one certain spot or something specific, but just something, I don't know, the idea of space, the idea of timing, or just something like that, and to put a focus on for when we recoup next week and stuff. But for this past week, kind of going to go through each one of you guys. JP, is there anything that you noticed out of any of your hitters or any of the guys that you're working with or anything like that? Were there any like big aha moments, any big like, oh, like that's a great question. Were there any kind of things that stuck out to you this past week in instruction?
I think the big kind of shift in focus, now that we got a lot of, you know, pro guys in, less high school, college hitters, you know, for the most part, pro guys have pretty good bat speed, so it's been a lot of shift of focus to bat path, contact quality, that kind of thing. So we've been really just trying to nail down, like, get conceptualized in the athlete's head of what a good bat path is, and diagnosing mishits is the big thing. You know, if you slice a ball, this, you know, what does that have to tell you about your bat path, and kind of working back from there.
JP, what is that drive line that y'all are using right now to basically measure, you know, like, you know, impact momentum in a sense, like, you know, like quality contact in a sense, like what goes into y'all's right now as far as the hitting, because I haven't been to the facility in 2.5 years especially since Colin left.
Yeah, right now we've been working with a metric that we called Smash Factor.
Smash. That's what I wanted to know. Smash Factor? How is it developed over the last year?
It was kind of an in-gym thing for a long time.
Right.
We kind of put it out publicly and everything, maybe 4 months ago or so. It's still relatively new for us as well.
Right.
And kind of figuring out how to put it into our training and things like that. It's essentially calculated with the kind of Alan Nathan's equation of just exit velocity, bat speed, pitch speed is kind of the main markers there, and then kind of re-engineering it to get back to that contact quality coefficient. And I think the interesting
what was that, bat speed, and what else?
Bat speed, it's got bat speed, exit velocity, and pitch speed at impact.
So basically when it's crossing the plate and
yeah.
So what about contact in the zone? Is that being developed yet, as far as like where a guy's standing in the box and contact in the zone or close to their body?
Like point of contact?
Yeah.
The position. Yeah, we use hit tracks pretty much to kind of get relative contact, but we're really just looking at just a raw number of what the contact quality is.
Is our new TrackMan, is it picking up on the in-depth, I guess the point of contact?
I don't know. We don't really use TrackMan for the hitting side.
Okay.
More of the pitching trainers. Yeah.
Right. No, yeah. Cool. No, I was just wondering. Yeah, because we have hit tracks, but TrackMan, obviously, if it has that point of contact, that's going to be huge. Is because I'm kind of developing a smash factor type of thing, and like you're saying with the pros, you have to adjust, you know, like completely, like teaching them about a path and things like that, and the point of contact has been obviously for years, but the smash factor, what you guys call it, or just impact momentum from diamond kinetics or whatever it is, to like almost like boxing, where, you know, like if they get a hit, they push a button, and if they don't, if it's a block, it's a miss. It's almost like I want to develop a button. Don't tell you know, we'll keep that, you know, between our circle, the guys that follow us, right? But But no, that would be a cool way to like either decide, or come up with a metric that's like, okay, it's 10% of your barrel speed, and it's 10% of this, 10% of that, 5% of this. It equals a smash factor of right.
Whatever. Yeah, and it's just trying to quantify that, like, what is that contact quality actually doing? How much
Right.
of that bat speed are we transferring into exit velocity? And
because you have to add the launch, to create the runs, to create runs. So
right, and that's kind of the tough part is like the original like equation from the mathematical model of deriving exit velocity is like bat speed's pretty easy to measure, pitch velocity is pretty easy to measure, and then you have this coefficient of contact quality that gets just super complicated with where the ball hits on the bat and the vibration nodes of the bat and what the coefficient of restitution is.
We talk about vibrations, Connor. That's a little deeper right there, but like the vibrations basically of me working with Dovetail, and we just released our first metal, and they said it swings real heavy, but the power of it is up there with the goods, and it's $100 cheaper. So kind of pick your poison thing for end-loaded guys. It's an alternate, but the vibration notes are where you start diving into these guys that are charging $500 for a piece of metal. And Driveline having to develop a product that can be mashed with heavy balls and baseballs for a year, right, without it breaking, because every single one of the the bats are going to break eventually when we swing as hard as we do and we hit the balls that we hit. But no, that's awesome, dude. That's great insight of the pro guys switching, because my guys start showing up. I mean, I've got 3 minor leaguers, and then my college guys get here Thursday-ish. But that's awesome. I'm gonna take that and kind of piggyback off of it.
Yeah, definitely. And it's just kind of that transition from just younger, smaller, slower athletes that really just need some speed training, and the guys that are big, strong, and fast, and just don't hit the ball square enough, frequently enough.
Right. Metrics are there, but we're not getting that data we need.
A lot of that has to do with like their strength and how power they can output, right? Because like you can have a really good swing, but if you aren't strong enough to hit the ball at the yard, you're still not going to.
There's
right, wrong. So y'all do a really good job of developing athletes, right? And then their bodies take over, and y'all are teaching them the right things, which is awesome. That's what I want to get to do. So I'm going to do a lot of listening, probably the most I'm going to talk for a while. So.
Well, really quick, if I can, Steve, for this last one, bro, with your guys for the past week, what have you noticed? Has there been any like aha moments, any big questions any of you guys have brought up this last week of instruction that you've been doing? What have you noticed?
That's for me.
Sure.
I don't know.
I was asking Stevie.
Yeah, Stevie, go.
Dude, honestly, in Texas, football's huge, right? Football's huge. Everybody wants to play football. So when football season comes around, everything baseball-wise kind of just slows way down. There's still a lot of baseball being played, don't get me wrong, but the lessons, everything like that keeps going down. I really only have like 3, 4, 5 lessons every week right now. So a lot of it is just teaching little kids how to move. That's literally all it is.
I agree.
It's literally all it is. Usually before, I'll have lessons some days where it's more of trying to learn how to be an athlete, I guess is the best way to put it. Doing athletic things like lifting, not lifting weights, but just body weight type of movements, things like that.
Like what?
And other times it would be
like what movements?
Yeah, like body weight movements. Yeah.
Just body weight, just a bunch of things like that.
Yeah, I'm a big my buddies at Driveline and obviously here Fast Performance with the #1 trainer from last year in the country, and we have that the air press stuff, and we have all that fancy stuff. I either say don't lift at all or lift right, because all of my guys that throw the ball from 92 to 96, that are inside of 90, some of the things that you've heard at Driveline, Jay, all of our guys are $160. They're young kids. They're 17, 18, 19. They're healthy, and it's not my job to put the weight on them because that's not my expertise. But we are finding out that maybe we are experts at that as well, like just from the biomechanics side, like when we apply baseball and, these guys buying into some of the stuff that I'm doing or that we're doing. Jay, like as far as driveline and things, like, some of the things we do just absolutely erase what they are doing on the lifting side. They don't need to do some of that stuff, right? And like they need to do other things. And so I think it's like just teaching kids how to move properly so that whenever they do deal with their middle school, high school coach who have best intentions but don't know what they're talking about, and they load a bunch of weight on these kids, that they're at least moving, properly and efficient, and that hopefully we educate our athletes that, like, I don't want to say fake it, but you know what I'm saying? Like stay underneath, what I'm saying? If you have that hard-headed coach, like that you need to stay underneath a certain weight because, Rotas Chapman, bench pressing 3, whatever, that's me benching 150, 120. It is what it is. So, yes, you can bench, but did he do rotations after that? The series between the phases and that type of stuff is big, as far as that. So I like that too. Like, just moving correctly, because that's more up my alley as far as a guy that doesn't want to hurt anyone, right? Like that's the whole goal, is that we've never caused a Tommy, we only solve them, right? We only get them back. And so, ACLs, we've never had one. We want to make sure that we have movement patterns that don't lead to that whenever you get into a oh shit moment, right? So, it's just one of those things where moving correctly will help you be maybe a little weaker and hit the ball harder, right? And call it weak because of a industry that is as the determined that you have to lift that much weight, right? But you don't. You have to move a certain speed with a certain amount of mass. I think, Jay would know a lot about that because of just impact, the barrel moving a certain speed, and it weighs an amount. The baseball weighs an amount. They're throwing it a certain speed, and it's simple math, like we don't get an opinion. I bet you've heard that there. Is that like we don't? It's not about like that's the point of it. It's like this is what it is, and so that's awesome. You guys are doing that.
To kind of lightly touch on that, Greg, you mentioned that sometimes you may not be moving faster, but you're going to be moving better because of that. And sometimes more isn't always the best, but moving proper is. I have one kid, and I talked about it. Oh, go ahead.
I think you did you hear that whenever you were giving infield and I was hitting?
Oh, I thought you just brought that up right now.
No, yeah. But okay, I thought you were bringing up an example. But yeah, no, like so. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
So I was gonna say, I was working with a guy, and I brought this up on last week's episode with you, JP. The dude that had the 78 bat speed. That's his crutch. So this kid, he's a freshman, 78 mile an hour bat speed, really good bat speed, obviously. Rotational acceleration.
High school?
Yep. Stupid speed, but his rotational acceleration is below like a 3. And consistently is below a 3.
On what was being measured on what machine? Like what were we using?
Blast motion.
Okay.
And so his rotational acceleration.
The rotation unlocked version of Blast.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
And so we're using that. And normally, MLB average is 17. And right now, MLB average for bat speed is 77. So he's at or above. His average bat speed is in 78. But, he's sitting between 72.
Which is going to prove the smash factor at driveline, because that's what it's about. And that's what you heard me speaking about. Maybe you misheard me or I misspoke. And JP, maybe we can jump on that right there, is that what I thought you heard me say in the cage today was a very, very, very beginner, very rec ball player. And this kid couldn't hit water if he fell out of a boat, 3 days ago. And then, today he's hitting balls, that are average for his age group, right below him, right? And his barrel speed was above a couple of them whenever he was connected, right? And so it shows that, like, man, this kid that's a rec ball player that just likes it, that shows up 2 days in a row for a camp, and by the way, his camp was a reschedule, so he was the only one. So he got me like 2 hours for like the cheapest price ever, right? So I really dove into it with him, and I had fun getting back to like a beginner and teaching him and translating things, and it was cool. It was cool today, but to see that he couldn't hit a barrel speed, he couldn't hit a ball 60, right? Yesterday, and he hit 159.9. And then today he hit like 28 balls over 60 miles an hour, right? And
let's go.
He swung the barrel slower on those balls compared to his max, right? So So it goes back to flush contact. Is does JP and I, do we want a hitter that is going to square up with his barrel speed at 75 miles an hour and flush contact? Or do we want a guy that swings about 82 miles an hour and, basically not have a great smash factor, right? And like, we want the guy that is creating the distance, the exit velo, and da-da-da-da, but we're trying to find a trend or a correlation in the smash factor, or we're trying to measure it better, basically, to where we can determine who needs to be hitting at what time. And that helps the pitching side. That helps, everybody. It helps the game. It helps advance the game because the pitchers are trying to disrupt us and we're trying to get on them. And that's it. There's two ways to win a baseball game. It's create an out or create a run. And so we've got to figure out a way to do that, and it's tough. So all this stuff we're doing, I think, is awesome. That's why I think coming together and everybody talking about it's awesome. And people that are willing, like Coach right here, like admitting that, like, I'm just here to listen a little bit today because JP's got tons of stuff he's overwhelmed, I bet, dude. I mean, JP, how old are you again?
26.
Yeah, so like him being a drive line and hearing about the the O charts and the Collins, and Colin's a little bro to me, and like I know that he's like overwhelmed with knowledge and what is it going to be what are we going to apply, what are we going to like move to the side, and when are we going to go get that stuff on the side and bring it back into play because of a certain athlete that walked in the building. And that's the art of it, that's like that is the art of it is trying to simplify the intricate, things that we have to use as tools these days.
Hell yeah. And Greg, what did you see in this past week with your guys? Was there any kind of things brought up, any like major cues, any questions, any aha moments? Like, what did you see?
I think getting back to the basics of some things, like maybe like what JP went through, getting guys, pro guys back in the building and going off of high school, and lower level hitters, because lower level hitters, I think we agree, we're just trying to speed them up and do things like that. Just more contact, more swings, left-handed, right-handed swings, what we do at a young age, and just really open them up. But what I have been noticing the last week and a half is getting back to the basics. Like, I have a guy that's an indie ball guy, and he hit 197, and so we went up 5 weeks in a row, right, on a testing day on his exit speed. And then he got some really good wood. He got pro-grade wood, from Dovetail, and his average exit velo is just, it's just awesome right now. Like, his progress is awesome. He's ending his second month of 12 sessions. So he's going on 24 30-minute sessions. He's going on 12 hours of work, and he has plateaued, right? So what we did is reassess, right, and go in and see. And what I did is I walked in the building one day, and he was rushing his preparation. And he was rushing getting into the cage and hitting because he was having a lot of fun 2 months in, getting too comfortable with Coach Greg. Maybe the environment got too comfortable. I'm big on environments. So I went back to the basics, and, we do use driveline products, but, like putting like our blast sensors in our dovetails or whatever, maybe. So like this is a +3, this is a +10, right? So we measure all of these, and it's no different than our plyo balls, right? Like, we want to swing heavy things. Like, when we're developing, we want to swing heavy things fast. And whenever we are performing or testing, we want to focus that warm-up on testing what we developed, right, is my opinion. So maybe on testing day, we swing a bunch of light shit, right? Like death to donuts, which Driveline and I think we agree on that too, right? Death to donuts, like, we're going to swing slower for a certain amount of time after your donut because we target large muscle groups. There's a balance, right? And so figuring out all this stuff is so crazy, but like ultimately getting back to the basics of blast motion was Diamond Connects and blast motion were one of the first technologies I ever bought before I bought Rapsodos. I had all 3 Rapsodos, the insight, the hitting, the pitching. I just pulled the trigger on TrackMan, and it's getting back to the basics, man, of like, how fast do you swing this bat, how fast do you swing this bat, how fast do you swing that bat, how hard do you throw that ball, how hard and then sticking to a program, which is what we specialize in, about, what you're going to do to warm up, to lift, to cool down, to recover, what days you're going to do them on, all that. How many days are you available? 2 days a week or 5 days a week, right? We're going to have so many different options. If we have 5 days a week, we can recover and hit. Yeah. So, I mean, it's to me, it's getting back to the basics of like technology, I guess. Like, if I've been on a technology ride for 5 years, And I've been beta testing with, Rap Soto and Driveline and these guys, and now Hershey's got me in here, and it's like, dude, Hershey pitched in the World Series, but there's like so much I learned from him, and there's so much that he's learning from me about this stuff that JP and I's generation, there's that little younger of a generation that we're figuring out, and it's just getting back to like we've got $20,000, $40,000, $80,000 worth of technology just sitting out right here, just plugged in, charging for tomorrow to be used, and getting back to $100, $150 sensor. That was huge for us. We corrected a lot of paths, like JP was saying with pros. With that indie ball guy, we created, basically we broke a distance record. So we fixed some path issues, got some new bats, and on front toss he breaks his, not off the machine, not where he barreled one, coming in at 85 or something like that. Even at 65, he barreled up a ball at 24 miles per hour at a certain distance, and he 29, whatever it was, and he put a 96 something on it, and he was living in those 93s, and all we did was add blast, and he actually went up. JP, take this with you. So I put the sensor on one of those light sticks, like the ones from this store or whatever, and he couldn't get barrel speed over 70. It's the first day. The next day, 77. That kid today, same exact thing. I made him swing the light stick 17 times, just air it out, left-handed, right-handed. Yesterday he swung 60. Today he was at 65.8 or something. And so it's like getting back to the basics about that $20 stick, or if it's a PVC pipe, it's $1.50, right? And then just make sure you cut it the right distance. And that's what I think Driveline and us are big on, is like, don't just get a PVC pipe, get the right distance, get the right length and stuff like that. But yeah, and just getting back to swinging cheaper things and cheaper technology and an iPad, and it just like, dude, the 6 athletes we applied it to, we'll see of their next sessions when I get back from San Diego. But yeah, I mean, if they do their work, which is important as well, the athletes have to do their work. That's a whole other beast that JP would dive into as well. I'll shut up here. But, ultimately getting to cheap stuff, getting back to the basics, and switching the environment. If I said one sentence, it'd be switching the environment and creating a new environment that you believed in at once, that still has value, and that maybe you're overlooking, is get back to the basics sometimes for a week, for a day, for an hour, or whatever it may be, right? And we bought this net right here. It's a pitchback from whenever we were all kids, that yellow net. And, my minor leaguers to college guys to the facility itself, all we've been doing is getting ground balls and competing. To the ear, create a pile. To the ear, create a pile. And then we just play an out game. If you miss, you're out. And it's just shit talking, bells ringing. It's like we brought a new environment the last couple of weeks, to the point where Jason made fun of me about buying the net. Why would you spend $125 on that net? And then, now he's like, dude, that thing is awesome. Like, so it's getting back to $100 net, $100, $150 sensor, whatever it is, and a $10, or a $1 PVC pipe, to air it out, and then just measure it. Put your blast on that $20 thing that has a handle, right? Or figure it out. Figure it out. How can you test, and how can you get better every day? That's it.
Hell yeah.
I'm gonna ask y'all something. Okay, so with all this new technology and everything that's going on, I don't know a whole lot about it. I've tried to learn it and just haven't been around it. Do y'all ever realize that do athletes ever get? Can I cuss?
Fuck yeah.
Okay. Do athletes ever get mind fucked with all that going on?
Yes. That's why it's we got to simplify it. It's kind of what I'm saying. Yeah. Go ahead, JP.
Yeah, I mean, it happens all the time. I think I go back and forth on how much information the athlete really needs, and what they really need to focus on. I like the metrics. It's part of the reason I like the job is getting into it and looking at numbers and stuff, which is great for me. But how much of that does the athlete really need to know? How much do I just need to check in on my end, and the athlete doesn't even need to pay attention to? I think as I've gotten a little bit more experience in coaching and working with more athletes over the years, it's the less is more approach seems to be the best option, and it kind of allows you to feel out who can handle more information, what athletes can and what athletes can't. Because some guys do a really good job of not getting mind fucked, and the other guys just can't.
Yeah, like, and that goes back to Driveline. You know, like Matt. When I noticed, I worked for an agent, so for the draft, I was all over the draft, and to see my buddy draft, from the Giants, he drafted. He took my hitter. The Giants took my hitter, but they gave Matt 13, 14 pitchers in a row, I believe, and they were all smart, and they all had an outlier. Right. So if you don't know what an outlier is, like to people listening, is like something that stands out, like a metric, like a tool. But they were all smart kids, and they can handle what Matt's going to teach them. So I think it's like knowing your athletes, and maybe Matt has that benefit, and like that's like a leisure. But like we have to, they say don't treat my kid the same. No, you got to treat every kid different. Their mind is different, their body's different, their length is different, their background's different, everything. So. It's interesting to like Marcus that was on earlier, Connor, like, dude, Marcus would be like, so what do you want me to do? I would talk for 10 minutes. So he said we talked, and that's what he's grown to like. But when he was 17, 18, 19, and playing pro ball,
hated that shit, bro.
So what do you want me to do? So what do you want me to do? And I'm like, dude, I just told you, like it's I'll shut up. Let's go to work. And he was so athletic that that we did things. But no, I mean yeah, it's a tough balance, but yeah, man, they do get screwed over. I mean, you would be an athlete, it sounds like, right? JP, like he would be an athlete that we don't want to give too much information to.
Yeah.
You would be like, so like basically hit the ball over the fence, coach. Yes, sir. That's what we want you to do. Okay? And then look, don't swing slow. Like we would tell you things like that. Like external cues for you would be huge.
That's just part of the education process too, is like I think as athletes are around it a lot more, and it makes it easier for them to digest and not get it.
Absolutely. Like, and that's environment, like creating the environment, like when you create an environment where people want to learn, which is that book that I dropped as well earlier, like books that we should read is, Mindsets Over Skill Sets. It's a great book. And it's, it's like, it just highlights what's important and how we learn and how we actually obtain the information, because you can have the best intentions in the world, but if you're not translating the information right,
and that's one thing that I generally, a lot of with my guys, honestly, just talking with a lot of the players, like you get an idea what they can and can't handle. But generally, I mean, like any new guys or anything like that, I kind of stay at the front, because you walk into my barn, I mean, we've got 4 different TVs. 2 of them are doing one's doing blast, one's doing Rapsodo. We got bat weights. I have a leaderboard everywhere. Like technology is very, very used in pretty much every lesson that I do. But I started off with saying like, hey, you guys are paying me because I'm the one that's supposed to know this. Like, if you want the information of why we're doing stuff, the how we're doing stuff, and everything like that, like I will let you know. But if you just want, like Greg said, like hit ball far, like if that's what I need to do as a coach, like that's what I'll do. Yeah. But then I also have some kids where they're literally like are more invested or interested in the data and technology than I am, and I'm like,
oh, dude, these kids are brilliant. Like we were saying last podcast, like kids are brilliant, and so, I mean,
if you don't anybody that is struggling with technology, if you don't know how to work an app, a phone, whatever it is, like take it to the nearest like 11-year-old that you see, and within 30 seconds they're going to have that thing all good to go. And it's just what they've grown up with, man. They're so used to it. And I really think the idea of them being comfortable with that stuff makes it easier. A lot of my guys, when I first started doing stuff, literally 3 years ago, so it's not even like, we're turning decades or anything like that. Like literally 3 years ago, a lot of my guys I was working with, they didn't want to hear any of that stuff because they didn't understand it. I think a lot of people didn't really understand it. A lot of the freshmen and sophomores I'm working with now, 3 years down the road, like you bring up launch angle, you bring up, exit velocity and stuff like that, like they understand that stuff a little bit more. They've heard it. It's been around a little bit longer. And so it makes it a little bit easier, but definitely something that I kind of go, player to player with.
Right. No, that's a good approach, at least. Like, I mean, I'm only invested at this point in my career, especially, like, I'm only invested as much as the athlete is. That's why I don't mind working with a rec player to a professional because, I've had like Marcus, who is a pro who never missed a workout for 2 years. And if he was going to miss a workout, he called me the night before and just, he valued my time and he valued my energy and he showed up. So I showed up, and even like cutting families deal that aren't financially, set and stuff like that. Like, if you show up, I show up, and just understanding that, every athlete's different and they all need to obtain it differently. And it's an art. Like we were saying, it's an art.
Well, hell yeah, gentlemen. Is there one thing that anyone would like to kind of propose for us four to kind of do a focus on for this next week? And like I said, just something I'm thinking kind of general to where,
I like timing.
Timing?
I like timing.
We kind of want
to because pitchers want to disrupt our timing. Me and JP as a hitter, we want to definitely let everyone know. I hope you feel this way, JP, that is the most important thing about hitting a baseball is timing because I'd take a bad swing that's on time than a good swing that's off time. So I think timing it must be at least in everybody's top two, but it should be their first, most important thing as far as hitting because the pitcher's trying to disrupt it and we're trying to, create flow and get on time.
I'm down with timing and just kind of run with that. Let's see what drills we can try and come up with, you guys. I don't want to say anything now, but next week I would really like us to be able to come together, figure out, hey, did anyone create any drills? Did anyone, like, what tools did you guys use for timing? Was there any ideas, like, were there physical, mental cues, like, that kind of stuff, and see kind of where our clients take them. You know what I mean? Because a lot of the time, I don't know about you guys, I kind of try and let my guy try and drive what the terminology that they use, the feel, like a lot of that stuff. I told them, like, hey, I'm going to throw shit on the wall. Whatever sticks for you, that's what we're going to use. Right. A lot of the shit's going to come off the wall. Some of that shit might work for someone over there, but I want to use what they're used to.
You could take the oldest trick the oldest one, the battle is this on top of the ball or is this on top of the ball, right? My hands are on top of the ball or is my barrel on top of the ball? And so, like, when people say get on top of the ball, I know good hitting coaches that mean this, right? And then, like, they want to get on top of the ball and create good angles. And then I know bad coaches that are saying get on top of the ball. They're literally swinging down on the ball. So it's little stuff like that we can highlight and go after and dive more into as far as, like, once again, what an athlete needs to hear. I got a kid that's launch angles average at 52. Tell him to hit a ground ball, and he hits a line drive, 19 degrees. Like, so, I mean, the whole Christian Yelich video, the ball hitting the plate. Well, they didn't show the end
I've
of
got
the
shit
session.
on that. Like,
But
we're
they didn't show the
running
end
out
of the
of time.
session, bro.
Baby,
he's wet.
Go ahead. I was gonna say we can get rocking with that thing. There's so many people miss
the end of it. He's wetting up the top net.
Oh yeah, but they misinterpreted
the
the idea of that shit, and that's
when
that
you flip me. Hey, flip me a ball, and I will hit the ball where I want to hit the ball because I'm a professional hitting coach. I will hit the plate. I'll hit the top net. I'll hit the back net. I'll hit the left net and the right net because I know how to hit, and that's what we're trying to teach our hitters: how to be athletic and be controlling their barrel and understand that there's different theories. And you can listen to Barry Bonds, you can listen to Greg Coppins, you can listen to JP, you can listen to whoever you want to listen to, but, good hitters hit the ball everywhere. And I think that, if we want to show some outliers, yeah, there might be some guys that are pull happy in the pros. They also strike out 200 times and they're running out of the game. The game's getting very athletic. So the Yankees are proving to us that you can't strike out that many times. The trade-off does not work.
No.
The trade-off doesn't work. And you can have a couple of those guys in the lineup because of New Age Baseball and sabermetrics, yes. And they need to be placed in the order appropriately. You got 162 games. You can work another guy in there that's a little more consistent. But man, I mean, that's good with me, man.
Beautiful. So we'll do a focus on timing, and we'll meet back next week and kind of go over what we saw. Any closing remarks, gentlemen?
I want to get y'all socials. JP, what's your Instagram?
That's a good question.
I think this is gonna sound really fucking stalkerish, but I think it's JP_Fashone1.
I think that's Twitter. Instagram.
Oh, is it just JP underscore Fischel? Okay.
I'm not.
Hey,
going to
just
have all my
JP, follow me. Follow me. Mine's easy. It's Catching Barrels.
Okay.
On Instagram?
Yeah, Instagram, just Catching Barrels.
Okay.
Yeah, and then do you have an Instagram, bud?
Yeah. It'll be Steven P04, but Steven is SDEPHEN. Simple.
Fucks with me every time.
Wait, what is it?
Steven P04, but it's SDEPHEN, not SDEVEN.
So PH.
Yeah, it's.
Yeah.
I didn't even
bad.
realize I went to fucking college with this dude. I didn't even know that until about a month ago.
So wait, Steven
P04.
Oh.
Tipping on for folks.
All right, bud, I got you. I followed you, and then yeah, JP, follow me, and that way I can follow you back.
Beautiful, gentlemen. All right. I appreciate you guys coming on. Again, this is going to be live on Apple and Spotify for everyone's commute into work for Monday morning. Really quick. Didn't do this earlier. Should have. We got a bunch of new merch in the store, gentlemen. We got a bunch of new merch. Let me pull up. I don't know if any of you guys kind of saw it. This is one of the pieces. 95 Plus Club shorts came in, you guys. Anyone that hits 95 plus, you guys get your own little shorts, free pair for anybody. So when you guys come on in, let me know. And then fudge sickles. Let me photos. Let me you guys show the people our other new merch. We got the Pornhub logo, guys. We're rocking and rolling with it. Okay, it's barrel season somewhere. Got a bunch of other stuff. Got Strider.
Can I please get both of those? Like, I'll pay you right now.
Oh, fuck yeah, baby. Hey, anyone that's interested in that merch.
I'm coming to pick them up. I'm coming to pick them up tonight so I can wear them in San Diego.
Let's go, baby. Hey, anyone that's interested in any of that, guys, check out the website, rbibaseballllc.com. Thank you guys so much